nutrition that's just not fun is one of those things that we talk about like it cannot be imperfect in any regard whatsoever. And that's true. Remember, you're putting in all this work. You got to ask yourself, what's it for? And if you're not having fun while we're doing any of this, then there's no reason to be doing any of it at all. Well, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. Nice bright and early day today. Cool out, a little humid. It's gonna rain soon, I have a feeling. But we're out here for a good back and biceps day. Getting in a good pull workout. It's gonna be a tough one. I'm a little tired. Slept pretty well last night, so not entirely sure why I'm tired exactly. Had a somewhat relaxing day yesterday. Got, chores done around the house, but we're out here anyway. Sometimes it's just going to happen and we've got to deal with it. Still put in the effort. So we're out here first thing in the morning. Got a big day ahead of us. Got a pretty busy day ahead of us, actually. And we need to get this workout in. We need to get it in to center us, to get us prepared and ready for the day mentally and physically, and make sure we're equipped with everything we need to tackle whatever challenges might lay ahead of us. So with that in mind, as you can see from today's workout, we are doing a great back and biceps day today. I've been enjoying these pendley rows. I have been enjoying them. It's nice to have that barbell in our hands and be pulling some heavy weights. Not something I normally do, the pendley row. I haven't actually done it in quite a long time. So it's been a really nice change of pace. It's been good to push myself with pulling a good amount of weight on those rows, but also keeping it sustainable so that we can have good form and we're not heaving with our back too much on all of those reps. And it's why I prefer to do these pendley rows where we're essentially resetting that bar and those weights on the ground in between every single rep so that we're not just hanging out in the top range of motion up there and keeping our back at like a 45-degree angle sometimes. It's very simple to do that. You might not even notice it unless you're really paying attention to how your body's moving to complete those reps. So we're keeping the weight fairly heavy, moderately heavy, I would say, on those. And we're making sure we keep that back as close to parallel with the ground as possible and getting in a nice, deep stretch with those rows. Other than that, of course, we're going to do some one-arm pull-downs and some cable rows, and then we're going to hit our arms hard, too, with some hammer curls. Should be a good workout. I'm pretty excited for it, so let's get set up, let's get warmed up, and I'll see you over there. Darn tough set to start with first thing in the morning there. That was good though. It felt nice. Tough, but very good at the same time. It can be so easy to underestimate, what we're capable of, period, anytime. But when we're starting with a heavy weight like this, first thing in the morning, do 2, 3, 4 sets of warm up and then get after it. It's still before 5 a.m. Well, it's just how it goes sometimes. You've got to get after it. Can't make excuses. Just got to lift that weight off the floor. No big deal. Now, whether it's first thing in the morning or last thing in the day, nutrition and what we eat can be a struggle, period, no matter what time of the day it is. Some people get their cravings first thing in the morning. I would wager the majority get them in the middle of the day or in the evening when they're a little bit more tired, maybe a little bit more stressed out, just want to relax. But nutrition is one of those things that we talk about like it cannot be imperfect in any regard whatsoever. That it has to be crystal clear what the objective is with a very formulaic plan to achieve the results and the goal that we've set for ourselves. And that's true. We need to have a plan to achieve what we want. However, I think the biggest stumbling block that people put in front of themselves is trying to create a nutrition plan that just sucks. That's just not fun. That's just too tedious, too boring even, and too sad to be sustainable to get us through our day-to-day and actually achieving what we want. No matter how bad we want to achieve something, no matter how badly we want it, how badly we desire it, need it, if there's not some sliver of hope, of joy, of enjoyment in what we're doing, well, friends, we're probably bound to fail, aren't we? Why would we set ourselves up for a plan that from the onset is difficult, isn't fun, and can almost even be downright cruel sometimes? Now, that's not to say that doing a cut, doing a diet, trying to lose weight is going to be all fun and games. That's not the case at all. It's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. Not eating enough food that your body's asking for, that your body's wanting, desiring. It doesn't need, but it desires it. That's tough. It's hard. You're literally fighting this natural urge, this instinct, but it can be done. And you can do it eating ice cream. You could do it eating candies, cookies, brownies, whatever your vice is, you can do it while enjoying those things. You do it in moderation. Now, I've got pulled up here the nutrition label for the Halo Top Sea Salt Caramel Light Ice Cream Pints. You know, little pints are like this tall. This whole thing here has 3 servings of 100 calories. Now, you've got to learn how to read these labels. These things can be tricky, and I hate how they are written. These are terribly written. Now, with this one, it's not the most unfair I've ever seen. It's not unrealistic to think that somebody could eat this entire pint in 3 servings. But if you know that that item you're diving into is a 1 serving thing, you shouldn't be dividing it by 6.5 or 3.5 or 12.5, I've seen sometimes, servings in this little container. Clearly someone's gonna eat that whole thing in one go, and they trick you because they put calories, and it'll say, in this case, 100. In other cases, it'll say 20, 65, 80, but you've got to multiply it by how many servings are listed there. And that's how many calories are actually in that container. So in this example, we've got 300 total calories in this pint. That is so easy to program into your daily allowance for your meals, people. So easy, so simple. Do you know how many calories are in somebody's Starbucks drinks? A whole hell of a lot more than 300 calories. I can tell you that. If you're getting all that whipped cream and all that sugar, it's a lot more than 300 calories. Look on those labels. You can look at them in the app. Check them out. Figure out how many calories are in there and start getting a real taste and appreciation for either black coffee with very light cream or coffee with the fake sugars in them. Fake sugars aren't going to hurt you, people. There's a lot of research out there. It's not going to harm you. Let's take a look at this label. We've got to worry about 4 things, really. The most important 4 things when we're looking at a nutrition label. First and foremost, obviously, is going to be our calories. But then we've also got to worry about our total fats, our total carbohydrates, and our total proteins. When we're on some kind of weight loss goal, when we're trying to either bulk or lose weight, we've got to be worrying about how much protein, how much carbohydrates, and how much fat we're getting. And the ratios of those are going to change based on whether we're trying to gain weight, lose weight, or even just maintain weight. Obviously, if we're trying to lose weight, we want to keep those total fats lower. And if we're trying to gain weight, maybe we're balancing those out a little bit more on an equilibrium. Generally, you're going to see those proteins being the highest. And if you're maintaining or bulking, keeping those carbs and fats relatively equal with one another as far as ratio goes. And if you're losing weight again, those fats are going to be the lowest number of all. You don't have to do all these calculations on your own, though. I would highly encourage you to use an app like MacroFactor to let it do the tracking for you, the calculations for you, so that you can just worry about fitting in the equation into your day-to-day values. And the biggest number you got to pay attention to are those calories. Look at those calories. You can fit in 300 into your day-to-day. Now, you're not going to be able to eat a pint of Ben & Jerry's every single day, or even half a pint of Ben & Jerry's every single day. In fact, let's look at one of those labels. All right, I've got pulled up here a Ben & Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream pint. Delicious. Absolutely delicious. Love this one. We've got 3 servings, each of which is 2/3 of a cup. And the amount per serving, this is crazy, people, is 1,100 calories. Now that seems a little high here. I wonder if Kroger has maybe messed up their nutrition label. Let's see if I can do some investigation here. Okay, so Kroger is wrong, very wrong here. It is 3 servings of 380 calories each for this chocolate chip cookie dough. 1,100 total in the entire pint. So a little bit of misprinting here But again, it gets to the heart of the issue. These labels, they can be tricky to read. It can be tricky to know what's true. Regardless, you've got 1,100 total calories in this pint. That is so much food. That is probably more than half of what most of you would need on a diet. But if you're paying attention to it, you can program these things in there. Could you eat this whole thing? No. But could you eat a third of it? Yeah. Yeah, you could. If you have the ability to hold yourself back from going further than that, you could eat 2/3 of a cup, 138 grams of this, and program that into your day-to-day allowance. It is very possible, people. It is very possible. Do not tell me it's impossible. You could fit these calories into your daily intake. Yeah, you might go over on your fats. There's quite a bit of fat in this. And you're not going to get a ton of protein, but you could make this work in your day-to-day diet. Now, it would be tough to fit it a day-to-day, but you could certainly fit it in twice a week, 3 times a week. 1,100 calories over the whole week, you could fit that in. That's going to be less than 10% of the total calories you need for the week. You could make that happen if you want it to, because you need that reward. You need something to keep yourself sane, not just eating vegetables and rabbit food. No, we don't need plain rice. We don't need plain chicken, plain vegetables all day, every day. We can treat ourselves. It is possible. It is possible. Remember, you're putting in all this work. You got to ask yourself, what's it for? What's it for? Remind yourself why you're doing it and give yourself a reason to love it and enjoy it. It can be fun. It can be enjoyable, but you've got to get inquisitive. You've got to investigate. You've got to make your own decisions and figure out what works for you. And I think you'll surprise yourself with what's possible. I really do. Now, again, you can't go nuts with this stuff. You can't go eating a whole bag of chips. You can't go eating a whole stack of Pringles, a whole bag of candy all the time. But you can program these things in there. These nutrition labels exist to give you accurate readings of exactly what you're eating. Grab that scale, measure out a little bit. Measure out 30 grams of gummy bears, chips. 30 grams is a very common number you'll see on these serving sizes on bags. 28 to 30 grams. I don't know why exactly, but it is. But measure them out. Put them in a little bowl and give yourself those rewards throughout the week. You can have those things. You can treat yourself to these. You don't just have to stick to eating salads, eating rice, eating plain unseasoned foods. You don't have to not use sauces, seasonings, dressings. You can program for these things. You might have to do less than you normally would. That's okay. You're making a lifestyle change. That's expected, right? It's through these trials, though, through these tribulations, that we can grow the most, that we can really challenge ourselves and push ourselves beyond our comfort zones and learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. If we can do that, it makes everything a whole hell of a lot easier. Everything in life. Doesn't mean it never goes away. It doesn't mean it ever stops being completely uncomfortable, but it means you can be very okay with that discomfort. Sit in it for a little while, knowing that in a short amount of time, you won't be uncomfortable anymore. And you'll feel better for pushing yourself through that strife, through that tribulation, and it might feel a little bit better to give yourself that reward. That bowl of chips, those couple Starburst, that pint of Halo Top. You've earned it. It feels good when you've earned it. So program in those healthy proteins, those healthy carbohydrates. Get a bunch of those leafy greens in your diet, but don't hold back on enjoying some of the things that life has for us too. Day to day, it might just be little bits here and there. Or maybe you know you've got a big event coming up on the weekend, so you try to eat as healthy as possible during the week so that you can splurge just a little bit on the weekend. Not so much that it throws everything off. Remember, we need to look at these things as weekly totals, monthly totals. We can get so focused on the day-to-day sometimes that we lose sight of the bigger picture. But over the course of a week, as long as we're keeping steady with our weekly goals, we can still hit our targets. We can still hit those marks. We can still achieve our dreams. We can't splurge every day or even every week, but we can give ourselves these little bits of saving grace. Even every day, it is possible. When I'm on the deepest moments of my cuts, I loved nothing more than a whole bag of popcorn to myself, and sometimes on top of that, a whole pint of Halo Top. It is possible to program those things in there. You might have to sacrifice during the day. Gotta make sure you're still hitting your macro counts, but you can reward yourself with those things. You can. You just have to find a way to do it.
And if you don't know how, ask. Use that link below in the comments. Fill out the form and let's set up a time to meet one-on-one. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about your goals and figure out how to achieve them, how to meet them, and what's realistic. But there may be people around you as well that can help you, that have done this before, that can show you the way. Talk to those people. Reach out. Make those connections. You'll be surprised what people know and what they can teach you. Come on. Oh. Ooh. Okay, yeah, we're pushing that. Wow. Heavy swings. Remember, if the weights touch, the rep doesn't count. Ugh. Ugh. All right, everybody. We got one more set of these heavy swings here with the kettlebells, and we've got some shrugs to do and a little bit of ab work before we get out of here, but we're going to be supersetting our shrugs and ab work. Thanks for being here. Thanks for putting in the time. Good job putting in the effort. This is tough stuff, man. Especially diet and nutrition. It is tough stuff to get a grasp of, to get a hold of. There is so much information out there, and a lot of it is bad information, if for no other reason that it's incomplete. It doesn't examine the whole picture, and you are the whole picture. And understanding how you correlate with all these little bits and pieces of information and how they fit together inside that mass that is you, it can be tough. So again, use that link below. Reach out if you want to set up some time for a one-on-one conversation and see how I can help you reach those goals. But if nothing else, challenge yourself, push yourself, explore what's possible if you get a little bit uncomfortable. I promise you it's going to be amazing and it can be rewarding. You can have those treats, you can have those snacks, you can do the training, you can put in the time and effort, energy, and you can still reward yourself with the sweet things that you enjoy eating. That's what life is about, enjoying it, having fun. And if you're not having fun while we're doing any of this, then there's no reason to be doing any of that at all. It really isn't. Good job again. Good job showing up day after day. Keep putting in the work. Keep chasing down your dreams. I believe in you. I do.